Welcome to episode 5 in this series, Exploring the Feminine Economy. This series asks the questions about a new way of doing business that honours the body, celebrates the soft alongside the strong, and prioritises the wellness of all. Today I'm joined by Ariele Myers, a licensed acupuncturist, certified herbalist, and alchemical healer. For over 2 decades, Ariele has supported women in their fertility journeys through different modalities and channels. She offers safe, grounded, and powerful ways for women to reclaim trust in their bodies. And in this conversation, she shares both her personal journey and the ways in which she allows the feminine to play a role in her business. As I've been listening back to these interviews, I'm becoming more and more convinced that business and the economy is thirsting for more of the feminine, for more focus on wellness, on honouring our bodies, and on prioritising connection over extraction. These conversations feel more relevant than ever. I hope you'll listen and then have your own conversations and realizations that you can implement today. Enjoy. Hi, beauty. Welcome and thank you for joining me for a new episode of the Messy Magic podcast. Here we discuss what it means to find the magic within the inevitable mess of life. We all have our unique stories, and in this podcast, we celebrate it all because this is the human experience. I'm your host, Nadee Guy, certified feminine embodiment coach, lover of Mother Nature, and seeker of the magic woven through all of life. Welcome to a space to be your true, messy, beautiful self. Dedicate your next breath to you. And then, let's sink in. So thank you so much for joining me for this conversation today, Ariele. I'm so excited just to talk to different women in business about their perspectives and their experiences around feminine economy and what it means to you and what you're doing differently in your business, and really just have a conversation and open up some maybe different perspectives to myself and to the audience, and kind of provide a platform and a resource for people. So thank you so much. And I'd really just love to start with a bit of your background and how you came to be in the space that you're in with regard to work and business, and what feminine economy means to you, because I feel like it's a very broad kind of a theme, and it can mean different things to different people, and there's no kind of authority on the subject. So I'm really curious to hear about your insights.
Yeah, I'm happy to share. It's definitely been evolving, and my work has been evolving. And yeah, I'm not sure that I have any like this is feminine economy, but I feel like I know what it's not. And so I'm sure we can talk about that. And also like I think there are challenges to participating in business in the system, that's like so yeah, I think that's something that might come up too. But yeah, you mentioned wanting to know my background. So as far as business background, it's kind of all tied in. I graduated from acupuncture school in 2005. And so 20 years ago, wow, I'm dating myself. And I started seeing patients. I had been like working at a spa gym reception when I was putting myself through school. So once I graduated, I started like seeing all the trainers there and they started referring patients to me. And before I knew it, I was like totally booked. And around that time, I also got pregnant. So I kind of had this feeling like I knew I wanted to work. Like I had seen my mom through her divorce, like really, really have to like struggle to make ends meet and money, and being reliant on somebody for money was always something that I was like, I'm never going to be in that position. Um, and I also knew that I wanted to like be a full-time mom for my kids. So it was a little bit of like a tough spot where I was like, I know the kind of mom I want to be. And I also know that I am not going to like give up this career. So yeah, I opened a wellness center, which is probably way too much to do when I was 5 months pregnant. But it was kind of like, if I don't do it, I know it'll be too easy for me to like want to be home with my baby all the time and never go back. So it's probably looking back, it was like way too much. I took on too much. I'm not going to like go into all the details of it, but I was really trying to find the balance between like motherhood and this career that I was really passionate about. Like I love acupuncture. I love Chinese medicine. I love learning. I love herbs. Um, And yeah, fertility just kind of found me. Like I wasn't actually like particularly interested in like women's health specifically at the time. Now I can see like the path kind of unfolded, and like of course it makes sense that I would do fertility work, but like it wasn't a conscious like, oh, I'm so interested in fertility. It just was kind of like what I was good at, and more women were getting pregnant, and so then more they were referring more and more of their friends to me, and it just kind of became um yeah, it just kind of became my specialty without me really kind of looking for it. And at the time that I had my wellness center, so I had it for 10 years. I was like right outside of New York City. I don't know how much of it in-depth background you want, but I'm trying to like skim over it and just name the important parts. But I was really, I would say, looking at it now, doing that from a really like masculine perspective, or I would say like ungrounded yang perspective. Um, and I don't want to say masculine is like a negative thing. Like I think we need that in some ways to run a business. Now maybe I'm calling it more like yang feminine. But this was definitely like ungrounded masculine or yang energy, which was like no matter what I did, it never felt like enough. I like opened a second place when my kids were like 3 and 1. I was telling you before I got hit by Hurricane Sandy and rebuilt, and then a few months later opened another location. Like it was just like I was doing so much and never feeling like it was enough. And also feeling like I wasn't like I was only ever really working away from my kids like 2.5 days a week max, but it still felt like it wasn't enough and that wasn't enough. And, like it just felt like this feeling of like, I have to do more. I'm not doing enough. And I'm already, like it was this total kind of like frazzled way of being. Like no matter what I did, it didn't have that feeling of satisfaction, which is a really good sign that we're like not grounded in our yin. Um, and yeah, around I guess it was around like 2014, so about like 10 years in, um, I I just really felt this like calling for something more. I think my kids were like a little bit older at the time, so they would have been like, I mean, not older by any means, but like 5 and 3. So I was having like a little bit of space. They were like in, preschool or a few hours a day, and I had a little bit more space. And I found these acupuncture teachers, like some people I knew went to this mentorship. It was an alchemical healing mentorship. And I remember the call, like the invitation for it was like, do you feel like you're wanting more out of your practice? Like I knew I was a good acupuncturist. Like I was a really good acupuncturist, and there was still something missing, like this feeling of like there's just something missing that I'm like not getting. Like even if my patients are getting pregnant and like I had a really high percent rate, there was this thing with the people that weren't getting pregnant that I was like, I don't know what it is, and I can like feel it and I can't touch it and I can't name it, and like what is that? And I was also feeling in my life, like my personal life, like I have everything that I was told would make me happy. Like I have my marriage and I have this career that I really love and I have my two beautiful children and like I know I'm fortunate and lucky and like I should be happy and I am happy, but like there's something missing. There was like this missing piece. And yeah, I went to this alchemical healing workshop and um, ended up doing like a few years course of study with them of just like really diving into the elements, which I had learned in acupuncture school like 10 years earlier. And I was working with them every day, yin and yang and the five elements. But there was a way that I hadn't like felt them in my body, you know? And so that was like really what the training was. It was just like inner sensing and going in and being with them in the season. And around the same time, and I know it was kind of initiated by that a little bit of just wanting to be more with the elements. Um, we decided to move out away from the East Coast, away from New York City area, and move to Colorado. And there I really like dove into the elements more and thought I was done with fertility. Like I thought I was not going to do fertility anymore. And I kind of dove into like the realm of the feminine, like just like read all the books I could find and I feel like I should take a break because I feel like this is going for a long time. Should I like let you
No, I mean, I think that
project?
your story is so relevant and actually like not, I was going to say not uncommon. That's probably not the right word to say, but like relatable. And I think to a lot of people as well. And um, around like being in this life that is from the outside or on paper, like picture perfect, but just having this felt sense of both, like I guess in life and in business, it sounds like there's something that's not being fulfilled here. And I think that that's a really interesting kind of entry point into talking about the feminine economy as well, because it feels like like the felt sense and this idea of being in your body is um, about as far away from a capitalist kind of structure as, as you can get. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, like I guess I'd love to hear a little bit about what your business looks like today and kind of put that up against what it used to be like and how like how you would compare life and business now to maybe back then when you knew you were doing all the right things, but something what just wasn't quite clicking.
Yeah. Yeah. So when I moved to Colorado, I like the referrals kept coming. Like I was like done with fertility and I still kept getting calls from people. And at first I was just like, I'm not practicing anymore. I'm not there anymore. And finally it was like I should have something to offer them. So I kind of created Wisdom of the Womb and, took all the products I already had, but like rebranded and put them on. I was just doing it on Etsy. Um, and then yeah, I really felt this like that adding to like I couldn't not see all of this new kind of opening and expansion I was feeling about like the feminine and yin and the elements, but like through the lens of fertility. Like before I had kind of just been doing fertility through like labs and, much more like cerebral. And this was kind of more about like, yeah, like that deep well of like wisdom that we have that we kind of have learned to ignore. And so when I started this business, um, I really felt this awareness of like I don't want to force, like I just want to really like create this business almost as like an offering to the feminine, like as my devotion to the feminine, like I'm doing this to share this wisdom that has so benefited my life and impacted my life. I mean, it really impacted my life. Um, and there's also the reality of like, um, running a business that's expanding and getting bigger, it kind of grew beyond my wildest expectations. And maybe more, like maybe it got bigger than I even think is good. Like I'm at this point where I'm like, what are we doing? But yeah, I ended up partnering with my neighbor. I randomly moved right next to a person that had like a distribution and fulfillment center. And so I was like packing everything up out of my basement and while the kids were at school, and then like it outgrew what I could do on my own. So I moved into his space. And then finally I like couldn't do it all. So he put his team on it and then it just made sense to partner. Um, I did start running ads on Facebook, which now I have conflicted feelings about. Like it has gotten to like way more women than I ever would have thought imaginable. We used to ship internationally. We don't anymore because of customs and but so that was really beautiful to be like sharing this. I don't see it as like my information to share. I see it as like this is stuff we should know. Like we should know about our cycles and we should know about the phases of our cycle and about our bodies. And it's not new. It's just kind of maybe been forgotten a little bit. So it feels really powerful to like reach so many women. Um, and there's the reality comes with like as you grow, there's a lot more um need to sustain growth. Like the thing that's kind of broken about capitalism is that it only works if it keeps growing. Otherwise it's kind of um, devolving. So there's that thing that it's like finding the balance of like what is a good size and like can we stop growth? Can we maintain growth without needing to cut corners, which I'm not willing to do? Um, I've gotten into like we had a third partner who I mentioned, is currently suing us because I can't go into the details here. But in part, one of the main issues was that like I wasn't willing to like fire everybody that worked locally with us and hire cheaper people. Like there were certain things that felt really important. And even if it meant not making as much money, like it would have felt like a failure to not do that. So there's that kind of balance of like, and I don't know, like I know this is about feminine economy. So I think there's something about like doing what feels intentional and like right. And I think there's different ideas about that. Like some people think the right thing is always to grow and make more money. And, I don't think that. I think I need to like be able to wake up and look at them myself in the mirror and know that I did right by the people who, have worked for us and given their time to us and not just like replace them with cheap labor. So that
Yeah.
would be a big recommendation is don't partner with people who don't have the same ethics and values as you and try to know that before.
Yeah, that's huge. I think that's a really interesting one because it sounds like I mean, you've now had experience and perspective. That means maybe if you were in the same situation again, you'd make a different decision. Do you think that's true?
I don't I've really thought about this so many times because there has been a feeling like, did I do everything wrong? Like, did I make mistakes? Um, but I don't know, everything's been a learning. I feel like even now it's like I'm just learning from this and I'm kind of I really trust life and trust the universe. And it was the right decision at the right time. And, you can never know how money is going to impact somebody, and how like success will impact somebody. And um, I don't know. I feel like these are all like, yeah, it's super stinks. It's not a fun position to be in, but I'm like trusting that whatever, like, I'm looking at my astrology chart a lot and being like, okay, this is like some big Mars energy. Like, I'm here for it. But yeah, I don't think I would have, it's like I think we got to where we got to because were at one point a good team. Um, And I think that the growing happened because we were a team, you know? So I don't think like, yeah, it's like any divorce, you know? Like I don't think I married the wrong guy. We just couldn't keep growing together. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. And I think that is so perfect. Like I think there's no point looking back and having regret. It's more like what what's different for me now because of this experience and how do I move forward from this place? Um,
Yeah.
so with your business now, like you mentioned, the idea of feeling like consistent growth and consistent expansion isn't sustainable. Is like what, how do you approach business now in terms of growth and what's your idea of success and how do you weave all of this through your business?
Yeah. I mean, in part, you know, when I started, I was a little bit like, I just want to be doing my healing work and I just want to be the one who's like it gave away a lot of my I don't want to say like my authority, but like I wasn't looking at numbers. I was like, you guys do that. Like that's one thing that I would do differently is I was kind of like, I'm not good at numbers. I'm not good at money. Like I'll just kind of do the like I just want to do the healing feminine stuff, which is where I was at the time. Like I had just done everything on my own at my wellness center and had to be involved in every aspect. And I was like, I just want to be able to stay in my lane and trust that these guys are in their lanes. Um, so that is maybe something that needed to unfold in the way it did. But yeah, now, I mean, there is the reality because we are a goods, like we actually are selling goods. There is the reality of like the more we buy, the cheaper it is. In terms of like we get like volume discounts. So if we buy like 500 pounds of something versus 50 pounds of something, the 500 pounds is a lot less per pound. So like there's that reality of like the math on that is will bring our cost of goods lower, which I think is obviously different if you don't have that, if you're like a service provider or and you don't have that kind of volume discount. So there is a certain amount we need to be at to kind of like keep it so that our costs don't go up too much. Um, but you know, we were at a position like a year and a half ago where we were really like needing to look at new space. We were kind of needing to like think about expanding. Um, it was all exciting, but it was like taking on more to then create more, to then sustain more. And it was feeling a little bit like, is this a good idea, or could we just be like content where we are? You know, like do we need to keep growing if we're like paying everybody's salaries and we're, you know, profitable? Like, is that enough? Ultimately, like life, you know, happened. And when this, I'm being just careful about like how much I can say, but like when this rift happened with between my two partners, um, one of the marketing guys that had been hired uh, ended up going in and like deleting our ads account, like pretty much entirely, and just like gutted gutted our Facebook. Um, And it was really interesting. I mean, that was a big turning point too, because it was like, wow, like we've been so reliant on this like one, you know, Facebook and Instagram. Um, and like we don't really even believe, like we don't feel good about that, you know, alliance kind of anyway. Like it doesn't feel good to like market over there. It doesn't feel good that like what they're doing with, you know, with people's data. Like there's like this, I guess it would be like a cognitive dissonance is like we needed it so much. And it's also like feels so antithetical to like who we are as a business. So I just really looking at it. Like I don't have answers right now. Um, you know, certainly if it was just me and I was just like treating people and I wasn't responsible for like other people's jobs, maybe would just not do Facebook altogether. We've made the decision to not sell on Amazon um, for similar reasons. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's like I don't know what the right thing is. I just am aware of the things that are like, that doesn't feel great, but like, how else will people hear about us? And if people are hearing about us that way, and then we can maybe like share this thing that we feel like is really important for women to know. Um, is it okay? And the reality is I don't know. Like, we're just kind of making it up as we go.
Yeah,
Um,
that's so
yeah.
interesting because I think it's so easy to get swept up in the ideals and the theories and the conceptual of running a business and doing it in a way that aligns with your values. And then there's also the reality. And especially when you're sort of evolving the way you do things, you can't necessarily just jump from one way of doing things into another. Like, I think it's so natural that there is a process of sort of questioning and making new decisions, but also feeling it out as you go. Um, so how does that process sort of feel to you? Like, are you, I guess, using the Facebook ads and Instagram ads as as an example, where you don't necessarily know what the answer is, and you can't be expected to just make it up, and it's not necessarily something that's out there waiting for you either, because this is such a common way of finding people. What's your approach to sort of feeling into new ways of doing things and your like expectations around it and how it all kind of evolves for you?
Yeah. I mean, as far as ads, I don't know if I'm answering your question exactly, but like as far as ads, now I'm just writing my own copy for them. But initially we had a marketing team doing that and a marketing guy doing it. And it felt really important to me. It felt important that the language that was used was not like I get that like marketing language can be like find the pain point and like dig into it. And I was like these women are in pain. Like if they've been struggling to conceive, like we're not gonna make them, you're too old. It was like the worst. So that was like one thing that like right off the bat, I was like, I want to use language that is like really helping women feel into their own capacity and their own abundance and not into their lack and not into scarcity. Like I'm not going to do that. And that was a little bit of a rift. Um, Another thing was like not like I've never done, on Instagram and Facebook where like for a while they're like pointing to words and they're like all these things that you or like here's what not to do, like all the things that are like this is what like the main marketing guy of the time is doing. And I felt like the expectation was we just like chase them around. I think I said at one point, like, it feels like there's like a popular kid at the playground and like we're just trying to like catch up and like do what he's doing. And if like, even if we succeed that way, like that will be a failure for me. Like, I don't want to like chase after what the popular kid is. Like, I want to stay in integrity with like who we are. Um, but yeah, it's interesting because it's like how else now do you get information out if it's not on like YouTube or Facebook? So it's like one of the big ones is like Meta and Google, so yeah, I don't know, like I really am trying to just like share as much for free as possible. Like that feels good to me. Like I have a fertility 101 thing. And then if people want more, there's things, but I'm like really lowering the cost of like entry, so to speak. Like I had a course that I used to charge $1,000 for it, and I just reduced the price to like $49 because I was like, I just want people to have this, and I don't. There's certain things that like it feels important for like the time we're in for women to know their bodies, and so it's not like I need to like gatekeep that. So like certain things like that like helps to counter the reality that like we do have to charge because we are living in a place where the economy is a real thing and money is a real thing and we want to pay our employees like fair wages. So yeah, I don't know if that really answered your question or if there was more to your question, but
No, I think that's beautiful. Like that sort of idea of like of pricing and figuring out how to access your audience is something that I've been thinking about as well. And I love the idea of um having things available at lower price points or for free that feel really important for people to have and making them really available. But also honoring the fact that you are running a business and you do need to pay your own bills and you do have people that you pay. So you have other offerings that you charge more for or that you get more volume for or whatever it is. Like I love this kind of um sort of moldability. It's like this like pliability where you can play with different offerings and pricings to both honor your own values and feel like you're providing resources to the world in a way that only you can, but also finding a way to have other things that you're able to bring in money for, because that is the world we live in. We all need to make money some way and be able to kind of survive. I love that.
Yeah.
Um,
I just thought of like this might just it feels relevant to share that it doesn't happen so much now, and I don't know if it's just like I'm not a like energetic fit for it anymore, but in the beginning I think I did have some guilt about like charging or like being successful or making money, and we'd get a lot of um like Instagram messages that like this is like so expensive, or like you're what was the word they like it wasn't predator, but it was like basically like your I can't think of the word, which is good. It used to like bother me so much and now I can't even think of the word. But basically like you're taking advantage of women by charging for like when they're at their weakest. And it's like that really bothered me because it was like, but I think there was also I think something only bothers you if there's a part of you that like agrees with it, and I think I did feel like it feels I mean, that was even in my acupuncture days. I never could deal with the money. Like I got a receptionist immediately because like I was like, I don't want to talk about the money. I don't want to take the money. I don't want to handle the money. Like I was so uncomfortable talking about the money. And I was only ever like making enough to pay my babysitter, like at my wellness center and like to run it. It wasn't like I was like living large. But I think that's like healers or maybe just women in general, I don't know, but can have like a thing with money, like almost feeling like our what we're doing is like degraded or something if we make money for it or like get wealthy from it or and I've done a lot of work around money and just like the energy of money and really looking at my money stuff. It's still there for sure, but like I think that idea that like yeah, like this idea if you're making money or like accepting money for a service, like it somehow like degrades it or it's like taking advantage of the people that you're serving and yeah, I really like I kind of feel like that's a misogynistic idea. Like I don't know if anyone ever says that to men. Like I'm not sure. It's like you're making money, you should be ashamed of yourself. So I really just it's just something that I'm looking at, like why that's target like that's pointed at women so much. And like these offerings like herbs and healing and maybe they were in the past like um not paid for in the same way, or they were more like traded or bartered, who knows? And certainly I'd love to go back to that system, but the reality is like we would not be able to sustain ourselves if we weren't charging what we're charging and to like continue to educate and share. And just this idea that we shouldn't be making money for what we're doing. I just think that's something that we really need to look at, and that it is so often just said to women and not men.
what if the key to being more magnetic is not creating more or being more, but leaning into what makes you feel really good? I've been playing with this question and mindfully infusing my business with pleasure and beauty. And it's had such a profound impact on, well, everything. And I wanted to create something that invited other women to do the same. So I created a free 5-day pleasure infusion for the woman who's open to asking the question, what might be possible if I focused less on doing all the things and more on dropping into ease, fun, and play? It's 5 daily emails with a small but potent exercise to invite you into more pleasure in your business. You can sign up for free at nadiguy.co/pleasure infusion, and you can check the link in the show notes. Yeah, I think that's a huge thing, something I've seen a lot of as well, and something I've done heaps of work on too, and I'm still working through
Mhm.
women's relationship with money. And it's a massive topic, but I think that coming to a place where we can feel like we give ourselves permission to make enough money to the point that feels good for us, and that's going to be different for every person as well. Um, I think, and depending on, whether you are running a business and paying team and how you want to pay your team and look after the people around you and the kinds of, um, even down to the kinds of products that you want to buy and the kinds of platforms that you want to invest in, the software companies that you want to get behind. All of those things require money, and to have more money, I feel, gives us more choice and more power to make purchasing decisions that align with our values and how we want the world to be. Um, but yeah, I think it's a huge topic for so many of us, and there's so many different angles. You mentioned that like you've done some work around it. Are there any like practices or resources that you could point people to around doing some of this money mindset work?
Well, so one of like the most powerful things that like really impacted me to hear was actually Kelly Brogan said I did like a money mindset thing with her. I think it was just like a 1 day thing, but she said something like, we tend to think of money energetically as masculine, and what it could do for us, where it could put us, like what we can do with it, but it could also be a little like tight. What if we see it as the feminine and like feminine energy flowing through us? And so like that really impacted me. Like if money is feminine, the way it flows, the way it moves, like we think of it more as like yin and water and allowing for us and also allowing for us to like be creative and expansive and expressive. That really was a big shift for me. Also, like what would it mean to feel yourself as a wealthy woman? Like that, like the first time I heard it, I was like, ee, like I don't, that's really uncomfortable. Like, ooh, what does that mean? What does that mean about me? Like I had so many things about that. Like what will people say? How will I be judged? What does that mean about me as a person? And just like really sitting into that and like feeling that, like, what does it mean to be a wealthy woman? Like, where are my like judgments about what that must look like? Or like, I had so many judgments about that I wasn't even aware of, like judging women with money. Really interesting to look at. I like got Charles Eisenstein's book. I'm blanking on the name right now, but it's a something Sacred Economy, something like that. But it's so dense, and I might try to like listen to it on Audible because I can't read it. I like will read it and be like, I just read 3 pages and I have to go back and read it again. So it's really dense. And then there's also the book called I forget what it's called, but it's The Money Shaman. Dawn and Elisa had him on their podcast. And I really liked that book too, because it's also like talking about like just like, yeah, like do what we can do with money and the energy that we could like infuse into our money to like do good in the world. Like I really believe that we can, I mean, yes, just on like a very like practical and logic and like realistic level, like you were saying, like buy things that you feel good about that are not like I don't buy from like Shine or, the companies that are like putting a lot of, garbage into the world. And, like I really try to buy um, ethical products and things, but of course those are more expensive. So yeah, there's just the kind of reality of like the more we have, the more we can be in choice about how we're spending money. And I think the way we spend money then makes changes. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's kind of like the big things that I would say.
Yeah. So I think what you're highlighting is how important it is for us to look at our money stuff because we can push it to the side and leave it up to someone else or leave it to the universe to take care of or leave it to the people that we hire or whatever it is. But actually kind of looking at it, actually like looking, like you said, at our own judgments, our own perception of self-worth, of worth of things, every kind of perspective that we have, the more we look at those things and evolve them in a way that feels good to us, the more agency we have. And it is one of the ways I think that we can really change the world because we do still live in a world that requires us to pay for things. So the more capability we have to pay for things, the more say we have, the more choice we have. I think that's
Yeah,
really,
I mean, I'm thinking about how crazy it is that I literally have not in 15 years, at least, maybe more, been like, this is what I charge, like for me. Like I've not done that. It's either been like through a website or, through a receptionist or through a customer support person. And I haven't been seeing patients one-on-one in a while. I guess that's not true because I did for a little bit have a little private practice. Um, but yeah, I'm thinking about starting to see patients again and starting to like do one-on-one coaching again. And like it really feels important that I am like decided in my rate and it's like this is what I charge. Like it's so interesting that that can be so like such a place of like discomfort, but it also feels important. Like this is what I have to share is worth, you know?
yeah, absolutely. And I think also by doing it yourself, you then set an example and provide that permission field to others to do the same thing. Like if
Mhm.
someone sees you providing your pricing and you're like standing in that, this is what I charge and this is what it's worth, someone else might witness that and go, wow, like why can't I do that? And look at their money stuff. And then it becomes this ripple effect that is just so beautiful and so powerful.
Yeah, yeah, totally.
Um, One question I have for our listeners is if someone is interested in becoming a part of what they think of as the feminine economy, or doing something a little bit intentional um, to dip their toe or to start thinking more about this whole concept and how they can be a part of it, whether it's through their business or the ways they invest or the way that they hire on their team. Like, is there one sort of step or practice or perspective that you would suggest people could do? Like, it's a practical thing.
Hmm. What just came to me is I don't know, because when we think of like what's feminine, like what is feminine, um, of course I've spent like, a decade really like diving into like what is the feminine? And I happen to have like a lot of yang energy in my astrological chart. Like I'm an Aries, I have a ton of Mars stuff, I have a ton of fire. Um, so there's certain things about me that I always thought were like masculine when I was still kind of working in the realm of like yin and yang and masculine and feminine. And um, I've been really experiencing them more so like just in the past year even. Things that I kind of like put away or tried to temper or like really tried to be more yin and I needed to do that. That was part of it. But now I'm kind of like tapping back into those parts that I saw as masculine. Um, and I'm really beginning, I said this in the beginning, so I'll kind of circle back, like that there is a yang feminine energy, which I kind of relate to like, we got the ideas of yin and yang from like the phallus of like the yang penetrating and then like the receptive qualities of the womb, but we kind of ignored the like testicle, which is yin in nature, and then the like expulsive yang force of the womb. So I feel like we've kind of separated these out, and I'm really looking at my yang energy more as like this yang feminine. So I know you're asking about like business, but I would just say that like really like looking at all of the parts of ourselves and not feeling like one way of doing thing maybe is not, feminine or like I don't know, like I just think it's like if it's of you and something you feel passionate about and something you feel motivated to do and driven by and it just feels like a yes. Um I don't know, to like follow the wave of it. I mean, I don't know if most people that are listening are going to be like creators or coaches or like I don't know what that would be, so I can't really offer like a the next step to take, of like building a website or but I just think like really like allowing for all the parts to kind of have space and not be like that's not feminine. Like I spent lot of years, even though I'm in the like womb space, like feeling like I don't think I'm feminine. So, so it's just like, oh, like who's to say like what that is? So, yeah. Again, I don't really know if that answered your question, but that's
No,
just like,
that's so
okay.
perfect. That is so perfect. I think, yeah, following your yes, like just
Mhm.
allowing and not judging or repressing parts of yourself that you feel might be, um, I don't know, not right. I love that idea. And it's so applicable to everyone. Like it doesn't just have to be related to business. It could relate to business. It could relate to your offers or your marketing or like hiring team, but it also could relate to what you do with your spare time, how you parent your kids, like how
Yeah.
you run your household. Yeah, so I love that. Thank you.
Yeah, and I'll just like add to that one more thing is like the way that I sometimes feel the difference between like yang feminine like that feminine yang is that it feels really like it's coming from yin, like there's a purpose behind it to doing something, not just like doing the thing to go out and get it, but it's like there's a purpose that's more than just like a drive to like, conquer or get or be productive, or there's like a what's it for? So it almost feels like there's like it's circling back to something and in the doing it will feed the thing that it's coming from. So, whether we're doing it because we're like as an offering to the feminine or an offering to the earth or an offering to women, it's like it that's what I feel like makes it this sustainable thing that's not just like burning us out and leaving us feeling unfulfilled, is that it's like the doing of it is like feeding something else.
I love that. I love this idea of the feminine yang, and that's not
Yeah.
something that I've really come across before. I think that's so interesting and not polarizing them, like just allowing it to be
Mhm.
a spectrum, allowing there to be overlap, um, and not needing to put everything into a box, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, so can you tell us, where to find out more about you and if there's anything in particular that you want to talk about with regard to your offering? You've got so many beautiful things going on in your world, and I really, really welcome you to share anything you feel called to talk about.
Sure. Well, what feels most alive is the book I'm supposed to be writing. I haven't been writing it. Um, but it's called the Empress, or we'll see, maybe the Empress phase, or it's kind of this, we have the maiden and the mother and the crone. Those are like the three stages of the feminine. And my work for the past 20 years has been in the mother, and helping women have babies and my children and really feeling like moving out of it, but like I'm not in crone and I certainly don't feel like I want to be in crone and kind of like bumping out those phases. And there's this time in between where we're still um, really alive. Like there's a little bit of like a maybe wilting of the petals of the full bloom of, the mother phase. But we're certainly like still have agency and sexuality and eros and so yeah, supposed to be writing a book about that. I kind of put it on hold for a little bit until I get my mojo back. But stay tuned because I'm gonna do that. And yeah, my website is just wisdomofthewomb.online.com and you can still find us on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube. And the offering I mentioned earlier, if anybody's interested, it's called the Fertile Mama Method. And that's the one that we just reduced to $49. And we do have like lots of teas and PMS teas and fertility teas and perimenopause teas and teas for teams. So they're all herbal medicine, but kind of like tasty versions of them in tea form. And so those are all available on the site too, and womb oils and all good stuff.
Amazing. Well, I will make sure that all of that is linked in the show notes.
Yeah.
And I guess if people are interested, I mean, your book sounds incredible and I can't wait for it to come out. Like, what's the best way for people to hear about that when it comes out? Do you have a mailing list or is it just,
Yeah, we have a mailing list. Well, not specifically for that. I guess I need to get on that. I really haven't done anything for that yet, except for dream it up and you know, make a blank Google Doc. Yeah, I'm like waiting for it to arise in me. I'm thinking like she will be born through me is but yeah, no, we can, I guess just email us and I'll start a mailing list specifically for that. Yeah.
yeah, no worries. Oh, thank you so much.
Thank
This is a
you.
really
Fun.
beautiful conversation. Is there anything else that you want to share or anything that's coming to mind that you want to mention or
No, it's so great to talk to you always. And yeah, I just really enjoy this conversation. And I feel like a bubbling of energy, so that's always a good a good sign. So it's a
yeah,
good
yeah,
moved
same.
energy in me. So I appreciate that.
No, me like I appreciate you. I love these conversations and I'm the same. I feel like I get so excited that we can have these conversations and even that we live in a time where this is available to us.
Yeah.
Not only like the technology and the fact that we can speak to each other on the opposite sides of the world, but also that we have the ability to kind of think on these levels and kind of question things and really
Mhm.
approach things in a new way. It's such a gift and an opportunity for us. So, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm really, really grateful that we've connected and so happy that you agreed to be on the podcast.
Yeah, me too. Thank you so much for inviting me. It's an honor and a pleasure.
Thank you so much for spending time with me today. Your attention is so precious, and I'm honoured to have had a glimmer of yours. I'd love to hear what resonated with you. You can email me at hello@nadiguy.co. Don't forget to subscribe in your podcast player so you don't miss upcoming episodes. And please feel free to share this episode with the person that you thought of as you were listening. If you enjoyed today's episode, I'd love to invite you to leave a rating or review for the Messy Magic podcast. I'd be so honoured. Until next time, have a magical day.